Do they know? Do they care?
Cookin' Cheap, brought to you by Kroger, for low prices and more. And by Valleydale, home of the All-American Meal.
That was a close call. Hi, how you doing there? Out there in broadcast land.
Oh, we're doing real good, although we got the giggles.
Just had a little munchkin just came by in front of the camera, but she got out just in time.
You know, somebody wrote to us and wanted to see what Doris looked like. She's been on. Doris, come here and we need to let people see. This is Doris.
I'm not sure I know myself.
She's real.
There she is. Let's hear it for her.
All right.
Okay. Yes.
There we go.
How you doing, Doris?
Everybody wants to know what Doris looks like.
That's great. Now,
all right, Doris, back to the corner.
She's a good-natured soul.
Yes, she is.
Huh, we hope.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And thank all you camera persons for your fine reaction. Right.
Wonderful applause. Beer sprout soup is what I'm going to make today.
Ooh, and I've got the Sailor's Delight.
What is that? What's that old thing, red?
Sky and warning.
I don't know. Anyway.
All right, well, anyway.
The sailors take warning. Yeah.
All right, Sailor's Delight, run for
your life.
All right.
No, that's not
it. All right, you go ahead and start while I play around over here with these baked potatoes that are very hot.
While you play around?
Well, I'm going to start slicing them, okay?
Right.
You go on and do what you want to do.
This is an interesting recipe, beer sprout soup, which has brought just gales of strange reactions. I don't know what I think of it. Well, I've never had it. I'm going to make it today for the first time. First thing we do, and I've been doing this, and this is just perfect timing today. I tell you, the crew has got their act together. We take 6 slices of bacon, and just fry that stuff along very slowly, which is what I've been doing for the last 15 or so minutes, until it's nice and dark. Now, you want it that dark because you're going to take it off here and you're going to put it...
I beg your pardon.
And drain it a little bit.
Did you say take it off?
Mm-hmm,
well, just look over here. I'll show you how to take it off.
Leave it on.
Watch this. My strings broke on my apron.
It's the rudest thing I've ever seen on television.
First time they've ever been flashed on TV.
So anyway, take that, set it aside, leave the bacon drippings in the pan because we're going to put something in it in just a second. And over here on this eyeball, I have some Brussels sprouts. Aren't they looking pretty? Just real gorgeous and green. I wonder if they're ready
You
yet.
like Brussels sprouts
I love them.
Real life?
They're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. They've been going. I told you 7 minutes would do the job. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take those and drain those and set them aside for the end of the recipe, because what we're going to do is when they cool a little bit, we're going to slice them in half, and then later on we're going to dump them in this mess. Now I got one other thing I got to do, and then we'll go to Mr. Johnson. Now what I got over here, of course, is I've got, that looks right hot, doesn't it? I'm afraid it's going to explode on me.
Hot grease.
Hot grease. What I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to start chopping up.
On his hair in the morning.
I'm going to start chopping up an onion and a pepper and what else? Oh, and a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to throw that in there in a couple of minutes and fry it. And that's what I'm going to start doing right now, Miss Johnson.
You know it'll be good. Thank you so much, Mr. Blythe.
And keep your hands off my bacon.
All right. Well, I just love it. I'm not supposed to have it, but I do like it. Now, what I've done is I boiled some potatoes, and you got to have enough to cover the bottom of your dish to maybe a ½ an inch or an inch thick. And I peeled them, and the trick is to boil them in the peel and then run some cold water over them and then let them cool off for a few minutes till you can hold them in your hands. And then the peel will come right off real easy. And I'm just thin slicing them with a plain old dinner knife. And they go down in this casserole. This was sent in by Paula Kurtz. And Paula knew what she was doing because she described how to peel these potatoes, and she was exactly right.
Nobody sent mine in. Mine just kind of dropped out of the sky.
Out of somebody's imagination. Now, you spread your potatoes out in your casserole real good and kind of mash them down a little bit. And that's going to go right over there. Now you got to make a seasoned mixture. Oh, I got potato all over my hand. Now, you can use a cup, and you need 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. And then you need a 1/4 or a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And I like pepper, so I'm going to use a little bit more than a 1/4, I think. And then you want to use the same amount of dry mustard. It's about a 1/2 teaspoon. And then you want to diddle around in there and get it all mixed up.
My recipe calls for dried mustard too today. Isn't that amazing?
It really is.
That must be some kind of a signification.
That these are good dishes, I can tell you right now. Now, you get that all mashed up. You'll get the lumps out, your mustard and everything. And then you want to sprinkle about 1/2 of this mixture over your potatoes.
Over your what?
Over your potatoes.
Oh, all right.
Just put it in there over your potatoes. At least that's the way Paula says to do it. And then you've got the rest of that left here in your cup. Now, the next thing we got to do is nothing to it.
Didn't look like much there for a minute.
All right, you got to chop up 2 medium-sized onions, and I couldn't find 2 medium ones in the bag.
You know what I think you ought to do?
What?
I think, you know, you have that little saying that you love to tell people every time you get interviewed by the newspapers, never catch a falling knife. I think maybe you ought to add a hot pan to that, too, while you're at it.
Well, I got 2. You're right. There's 2 tablespoons full of shortening in there. And, of course, I'm using
Mama loves shortening.
the fat-free.
I'm sorry.
She loves shortening bread.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mama's little boy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know they used to sing it to you. And you'd cry for more and more of that shortening bread.
Indeed.
Did anybody ever give you shortening bread when you were little?
I have no idea. I have a very short memory about shortening bread.
Well, about a lot.
I was just a kid.
We're both here peeling our
well, isn't this wonderful?
bubs.
Isn't it great? I thought I was off camera. I was doing some other weird
peeling
things.
over the pan. All right, now, these have got to be chopped up real good and fine.
Doesn't get to be soon. This stuff's going to burn. Take your time, but hurry up.
Well, I'm doing the best I can, Your Honor.
Oh, I just washed my hands over the Brussels sprout.
Oh, how gross.
No, I'm just kidding, folks. Just a little rinse. That's all right. They're going to go on something hot.
And there was no, soap over there, so they're not allowed.
Can I do something?
I don't know, can you?
Well, I just
you may if you want to.
I just need something. You know, we've got all of
that
this.
Was from back when I was a teacher.
Bacon drippings, and they're
He
real
still
hot,
doesn't know that,
and they're
does he?
real hot. And I'm just going to take an onion and a pepper, all chopped up, and you're going to do it in that, and also a little bit of garlic. Squish that in there too while you're at it. There we go. And now we just have to saute those, so that's all I can do for right at the moment, and then I'll get back to the exciting part of the program later.
Well, I've got to do the same thing.
Are you sure we're not both doing the same recipe?
I hope not. But I don't think I got any Brussels sprouts in mine. Now, I do have cabbage.
Same thing, practically.
Practically. It's
Not much different.
Cold vegetable. All right, now here goes my 2 onions chopped over into this frying pan that has 2 tablespoons of shortening in it. Now, this has to be, oh, one fell over this other burner. All right, now they have to be cooked until they're golden brown. So I'll just let it, all right, y'all do your tricks. All right, now, big bowl. And into this bowl goes 1 1/4 pounds of ground chuck. smell that onion has got in my eyeballs. Ooh. Ground chuck. And a 1/4 pound of ground, what's wrong?
I was trying delicately to get this little top out, and it just went blah, 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 right down to the bottom.
Oh, no.
Sometimes just can't get them out of there.
Well, anyway, now I've got to throw in a 1/4 pound of ground poke.
Poke.
Like poke.
Translation means pork, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, there's the pork, and it's down in there. And now I've got to add to it, a 1/2 cup of chopped celery. So excuse me while I chop my celery. What are you drinking?
A little water.
Oh.
I tell you, I haven't...
Now, wait a minute. We're not doing that anymore, remember?
What, drinking water?
Uh-huh.
Why, has the health department been by again?
No.
Let me do something while he's doing that.
We had that lady that called in, and after she laid us out for licking our
let's not talk
fingers...
about that lady. All right, now here, what I'm going to do is we're going to take this bacon now, and with your bare fingers...
She didn't like rusty water.
You remember Rusty Water. He used to be a cameraman here. See what we're doing here? We're crumbling this stuff up with your bare fingers, and there is no shortcut to doing that, ladies and gentlemen, but the secret is you got to get it real crisp, and you got to let it just set a little bit, and then it'll just do it wonderfully. And while I'm doing that, of course, all the stuff is sauteing, the onions and the bell peppers and a little bit of garlic. Back to Laban.
Well, thanks, Larry. Now I've got a 1/2 cup of chopped celery in there, and I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs.
I'm so proud of you.
I know.
You get so good at saying that.
All right. Now, that's all that goes in there. And so let me just put a little...
Laban. That's bacon.
Oh, you dog!
No, you can't, because there's nothing but little pieces. Makes me mad when you keep your fingers out of it. Which one has the bucket? Yeah.
Now, these onions are smelling real good. And you have to make sure. What are you doing back there?
I was a little confused as to which side of the sink I could use.
Oh. Did you find out? Oh,
I don't know. I just
tasty.
ran the water down the track. We'll find out soon. Enough. Woo, doesn't
Now,
that
the
look good?
trick is when you're doing this not to have too much shortening in your pan because they won't fry fast enough.
Mustard and cook. Can I do something here while you're getting ready to diddle that around? All right, now we're going to take 2½ tablespoons of flour and put that in there. And we're also going to put some dry mustard in there. And we're going to go to town on that. Let's see, a little dry mustard. We're going to have a teaspoon. I'll just guess. I'm pretty good sometimes, except when I'm not. Now, we'll turn that up a little bit. I guess we're making kind of a roux. Well, that's the wrong thing. That's going to explode. Whoop. Okay. And we'll just kind of get that started around in there. And that's going to make our base.
Oh,
And
well, good.
I guess you brown that a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't want it to have that, you don't want it to have the floury taste,
No.
so you've got to do something with it a
They're
little bit.
signifying to us, so while you're browning those vegetables
Well, they just
there...
told us we had 15 minutes.
Well, they announced that the Cook sisters are stomping their feet back in the back and are anxious to get on. So why don't we bring the old girls out and
Bring them on!
let them cook a little bit while we're sauteing and cooking our roux and burning our onions and...
Sis, wake up! Wake up! Remember back when you were young and still cooking and did things?
Yeah.
Well, I got something here.
I am still cooking.
Not the way you used to, though, I'll tell
Oh, I
you.
remember that. That's Daddy's old bunion scraper.
Simmering would be more like it, not cooking. No, it's not a bunion scraper. That's right interesting. As a matter of fact, it's a pickle maker. You put your cucumber on there, and it crinkle cuts it real good. And just crinkle cut those little things, and then you put them in jars, and then
the
you got
homemade
pickles.
looks like store-bought.
Well,
Well, I'm Sister Cook.
and I'm Tootsie Cook, and we're the Cook Sisters. Oh, they're such great fun. They
such a
really are.
mess.
I was just trying to figure out when you put this bacon back in. I can't find it. I know you got to do something with it besides let it set on the counter. I can't remember where it goes. Well, just put it in later on.
Yes.
Right now, you cook this for about 2 minutes. You can see it's starting to get a nice brown look to it. It's got about another minute to go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add an entire, I hate to even open this subject, an entire can or bottle of BEER for you adults.
Mm-hmm. Don't say it in front of the children, because they might be offended.
So anyway, we'll do that in just a second. Then you cook it for another minute after that, and then we're going to add some chicken stock to it. We'll cook it a little bit longer. It just goes on and on and on. Then at the last minute, we'll add cheddar cheese, and I'm going to throw the bacon in about that time.
That's the garnish. Yeah.
It says garnish with bacon. Why didn't you know that?
All right, while you're over there diddling around in that pan, I need to mix up something. Now, my onions are got to be golden brown. In the meantime, here are all the ingredients in my pan, and you got to mix it up. Mama's little baby loves. And you just have to mix all of this
Now, don't
together.
forget to wash your hands after you finish doing that. Let me...
where are those Brussels sprouts?
Let me do this. I'm going to put in an entire light, because we're very conscious about our weight. BEER goes in there just like that.
Now, all of the ALCOHOL will cook out of that.
Uh-huh, that's right.
So for all you that get highly
it's a good
intensely
recipe.
nervous, just relax.
It's a good recipe. Okay. Now, you cook that for a minute. That's all there is to that right now. That's all.
Oh.
Laban, how you coming along
I'm
there?
Good.
Did you find anything in there?
No, except looks like a wedding ring and the end of somebody's thumb. All right. All right, now these onions are tinged with gold. They're very pretty. And now I'm going to dump into this pan the meat mixture.
Whisk. Got too much.
That's a mighty whiskey thing to do. Now, you have to cook this mixture over here in this pan till all of the pink comes out. You don't want to leave any pink in it.
Doris told me that I was spooning when I should have been whisking. So I'm going to whisk.
Oh, I don't think that's the kind of spooning she was
Oh, well, look at this. It is turning into a right big mess.
thinking. Uh-huh.
No, it is starting to look real interesting.
Bizarre.
It is. No, look, it's getting thick and pretty. It's got a right pretty color to it once you get under the head that's on it. I never had a soup with a head on it before. That's incredible. Now, the next thing we're going to do, that's going about long as I can stand it. Now we're going to add chicken stock to that. Do I have to whisk that in, or can I stir that in?
I don't know. It's mighty whiskey. Oh, no, there's
Oh, I hope that lid top didn't fall out. There we go. Put some of that in there. And now we're going to cook for another 4 or 5 minutes, and then we're going to add to that some of the other stuff. But nothing right now. Only thing I can do now is just stand around and let it cook a little bit.
The pink is beginning to come out of this meat, and that's important. You don't want it to burn, but you do just want to keep stirring it around till it cooks down on you a little bit. And even if you think it's unmanageable, you'll find that the more it cooks, the easier it gets to deal with.
Doesn't look like this thing's very hot today. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Well, I guess I just added that cold BEER.
Uh-huh. And
It's taking a little bit.
it takes a little while longer to
Get back up again.
to get back up. But it'll do it. How is you? Oh, your heat's just fiery hot down under there.
Just
Yeah.
red hot.
And so is this.
Hot as the gates of Hades.
Oh, no. You
I
mean
know.
H-E-L-L?
H-E-L-L. And that's no. No, never mind.
Oh, Lord, they want recipes.
Just keep bugging us.
Sling
for
'em on
stuff
up here.
today. Yeah, come on, bring them on. I think they're bored with us. They're trying to tell us something.
Well, we're doing the best we can. A sailor's delight. 3 cups of thinly sliced potatoes, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 teaspoon each of pepper and dry mustard. I like a little more of each. 2 tablespoons of shortening, 2 onions, finely chopped. And, it goes on. 1 1/4 pounds of chuck steak chopped. a 1/4 pound of ground pork ground, fresh pork ground, 1/2 cup of chopped celery, and a 1/2 cup of soft bread crumbs. For those of you that didn't get it, you can write in. We'll give you the address at the end.
Know what I'm going to do? Oh, I better read my beer sprout recipe. 1/2 pound of Brussels sprouts, 6 slices of bacon, an onion chopped, a bell pepper diced, 1 1/2 cloves of garlic minced, 2 3/4 teaspoon of flour, and a teaspoon of dry mustard, and 12 ounces of light you-know-what, 1 1/2 cups of chicken stock, and 7 ounces of shredded medium sharp cheddar cheese, or as sharp as you like it, I think, salt and pepper, which I haven't put in here. I need some salt and pepper. Okay. Yeah, I got the salt and pepper. Also, something else I'm going to do, I've got these Brussels sprouts, and what you do after they've cooled, and they have, just take them and cut them in half. You have them, because we're going to add them to the soup mixture in a couple of minutes. It's finally starting to boil again. I was getting a bit on the worried side. So I'm just going to have those, and then and while I'm at it, I'm going to start shredding my cheese, because I've got nothing else to do. I'm a little bored.
Oh, okay. Well, while we're doing that, Miss Witch is here with another letter. She said this was a particularly complimentary one, and we would definitely want to read it here on the air. So, Witchy.
Well, she's hung up in the rafters again.
No.
She won't come down.
Oh, I can't believe it.
This is pretty bad.
Oh, the witches.
Perhaps if we had a broom handle.
I can't get to
The
the
witch
well.
is totally wasted.
It'll just have to be a surprise because we don't know what we're supposed to cook.
I knew you all were throwing it around too hard earlier today. I just knew it. Well, what could you do?
I don't know.
Nothing.
All right, now, once the pink is out, oh, I just can't.
Wonder what she would have said if she could have.
If she could have been with us.
She could have been with us today.
Well, once the meat has cooked a little bit, you put it in on top of the potatoes, and you mash it down real good. Oh, I got to do it this way. I'm sorry to turn my pan back to you.
Turn your pan to the camera. How awful. First thing you learn in broadcasting, never turn your pan to the camera.
Oh, I feel sorry for whoever the washer is today. The dishwasher, because that pan is going to take some doing.
Oh,
now, you put this in your dish, and you have to bake it for a half an hour at 350 degrees.
This takes the right smart of cheese, this recipe.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go get my dishes that I prepared in advance and take them over to the table. That's a right smart pile of cheese.
It really is, but you got to work a right smart of it in there. You have to put in about 7 ounces, and I'm going to add it right now. I'm going to add it right now, or I'm never going to get it in there. Well, I've left this set on the thing, and I can't handle it anymore. You just put in a little
This is the
daub at a
worst
time.
in the history.
Well, it's starting to look real cheesy and pretty, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say cheesy.
This whole show's looking right cheesy today. I will put that in there, and in a couple of seconds, we're going to return our Brussels sprouts back in just at the last possible minute. We're going to do that. I think that should be the greatest of plenty. It probably, well, it doesn't have to boil. It just says to put it in, right?
Right.
So anyway, and we're going to return the Brussels sprouts. It doesn't say turn over the Brussels sprouts. It says return the Brussels sprouts back to it. And then hang on a second. I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm real nervous. I'm going to take that out. Oh, it looks real pretty, doesn't it? Somebody say it looks pretty.
It looks awful pretty.
And, oh, yes, don't forget, of course, you've got to add just a little bit of your bacon to the top of that. It's just lovely. You got a spoon over there, Johnson?
Well, I've got one that I'm using for the cabbage.
How awful, we need spoons. Huh? For the soup? They're over there?
Is there a serving? Yeah, there's soup spoons over here, but there's not a serving spoon for it.
And here we come. What's all right? I've dipped it out over here to save us a little time. And here's your soup.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Oh, there were soup bowls over here. I didn't even know it. The soup witch has been here. And brought little
And
bowls.
there's your buttered cabbage, because
Ooh, it smells
Paula said to serve it with buttered cabbage. So there it is.
good. It smells wonderful. I'm just real anxious to eat up on it. You're absolutely right, Laban.
Ooh, the soup is real tasty.
This is a first-class dish.
Albeit rather hot, but it's real tasty.
I'll try a little of this soup myself. You're right, it is absolutely molten.
It'll ruin your mouth.
Well, I must say it's interesting. I think it's real good. Besides.
We have got a real good meal here today. Let's see, do we have time for a letter? Oh, no, this one goes on forever. We got to go.
No, we don't
But
have time for that.
Doris says, please, if you want the recipe, be sure to enclose a SACE, that's self-addressed, stamped envelope.
And goodbye, everybody.
When writing for today's recipe, indicate show number 1007 and send a self-addressed stamped envelope, please.
Cookin' Cheap, brought to you by Kroger, for low prices and more. And by Valleydale, home of the all-American meal.